Hello, and you're watching Sharing Vietnam only on NetViet VTC10. I'm Jasmine. So, amidst the global economic downturn and the slowdown of economies in Asia, there are still opportunities for businesses if they have a suitable marketing strategy. So in our talk show today, Mr. John Pierre, a marketing specialist, gonna share with us some of his insights into the working of this market. Please welcome Mr. John Pierre.
Hello, how are you?
Hello, I'm good, and welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, thank you.
Please tell us a little bit about yourself and how you begin with marketing.
Okay, so I'm a marketing professor, and actually I became professor because I worked in marketing for many years and I wanted to transfer my knowledge to young people. And basically I started loving marketing when I was doing my MBA in Harvard in the USA. I was inspired by a professor, and I found it so great that sometime later I wanted to inspire people. So I've been working in big companies like Procter & Gamble. I've been working in smaller companies, entrepreneurial. And now I am teaching at the Université Libre de Bruxelles in Europe. And also I am the Dean of the Vietnam-Belgium programs here in Vietnam.
Great. And how do you describe the market in Vietnam, and what should a businessman pay attention to first when he wants to launch his product in Vietnam?
Okay, so there are two things happening in Vietnam. One is linked to Vietnam itself, and the second one is linked to the international context. Actually, in Vietnam, you have been through years of growth, easy growth, where all people thought that they could make money easily. Everything was selling more and more every year. And suddenly, you know, there was a stop, and people and companies are a little bit disoriented. They don't know exactly what to do in these times. Now, there are many reasons for this, but that's a fact. The second fact is that Vietnamese markets now are part of global markets, and there are changes happening on the global scene. Actually, consumers are more and more demanding everywhere. They are more and more informed everywhere. They are more and more tech-oriented everywhere. So, of course, Vietnam is part of this context too. So, actually, in Vietnam today, marketers have to deal with both situations.
I see. So they have to deal with the more demands of the consumers and more difficult situations in the market.
Exactly. You know, there's three steps, three stages. You know, first people just keep the habits as normal. They don't change anything because they believe, you know, there will be no crisis. Then the second stage is that they start to save money. They are concerned about the possible problems they could have in the future, so they look for cheaper prices, they delay their next buying and this kind of thing. That's where you stand now. And the third stage is about changing more fundamentally their behavior. And that's where Vietnam is going now, and companies must anticipate that. A lot of companies just react, but the companies that would be the winners are the companies that can anticipate. They are already now thinking about the buying behavior tomorrow. So that's very important.
In the success of every business, there are a lot of factors, but one cannot mention the role of marketing professionals because marketing strategies to help businesses within the better for place in the consumer's mind. Marketing, though new in Vietnam more than a decade ago, has quickly become one of the fastest growing sectors and attracts a lot of workers who are looking for interesting job opportunity, and it is quite challenging. Marketing is one of the occupations with the greatest needs. According to statistics, 49% of the job vacancy areas in Vietnam is used for the position of marketing. This sector needs a larger demand for human resource as the economy grows. More businesses need marketing. The 30% of senior business management positions are held by those who work in various positions in marketing.
So what changes in consumers' behaviors?
Okay, changes in consumer behaviors are quite strange. Actually, people want more of everything today, and they will want more of everything tomorrow. They want cheaper prices, of course, but then they want more safety, they want more products, they want more brands, they want more dream, they want more pleasure, they want more service. That's the point that you can see everywhere and coming in Vietnam too, because the Vietnamese consumers are more educated now and they want more of this.
So as competition grows and they are exposed to many more brands, they of course have more options, so they think about what they want to buy, right?
Exactly, yeah. Yeah.
But what changes substantially in the field of marketing, like in the past and now?
Okay, one of the most important change, of course, is linked to technology and media. We switch from traditional media to more diverse media, more electronic media. It's a fragmented media world. So companies have to be very much aware of the target they are going after. Because if you know what is your target, then you will choose the right media to reach them. So that's something which is a big change compared to before.
Yeah, so the content is all online and companies now start
more
take advantage of
So a lot of companies think, okay, we should go online, and they are doing, but online it's very crowded there. So you need to be distinctive. Otherwise, there are thousands of websites today, a lot of, social media things. And so how do you stand out? That's one of the biggest, the most difficult question in marketing today. How do you stand out of the crowd?
How do you evaluate the level of marketing knowledge of Vietnamese companies in the market?
I think there's still a lot of improvement to do. My feeling is that a lot of companies are very traditional in the way they do marketing. They are just selling, actually. They were used to sell more and more, and so they focus their marketing on operations. Just try to sell more. But where Vietnamese companies are a little bit weak is on strategic thinking. And today marketing is about, thinking about your strategy. So what does it mean, strategy, for marketing companies or for companies in general? It's first choosing the right target customers. A lot of companies in Vietnam don't think about that. They want to sell to everybody. It's impossible to do so in a very competitive world. The second point, they need to be distinctive, to have a clear identity, so that people can relate their name to some ID clearly. Otherwise, you are lost in a world of over-communication. And a third point is the way to put this into operation in the field. Once you have the strategy, the right choice, you have to be very, very active, imaginative in the field and move all the time, being able to improvise.
The common difficult situation in the world economy has changed the needs of consumers, reducing demand and consumption patterns. Consumer switch to using the product or replace with cheaper price to the compatible with the recessions. In addition, for protecting the interests of shareholders, business leaders often choose to defend in order to meet the demands of shareholders or the board of directors, who intend to cut marketing budgets to keep corporate profits in the short term, but temporarily forget about the long-term goals. This directly impacts the branding strategies that are often associated with the results in the long run. Vietnamese market in recent years show that many foreign brands have cut their budget for marketing activities. However, Vietnamese businesses are attacking the domestic market during the current economic crisis. This cost of communication effectiveness will increase very much in the context of foreign brands, reduce the frequency of communication, and the opportunity to convey the brand's message to consumer will be higher.
Vietnamese consumers, behave different from consumers around the world, and maybe some companies which can take advantage of Vietnamese tradition, like having a little promotion on the Moon Festival, or those state holiday can bring the sales up.
Okay, a number of companies do this for promotional ideas, which is operational. Not a lot are doing this for strategic positioning. Now, it's not easy because Vietnamese consumers are ambiguous. They love Vietnamese traditions. They love their country. They love, it's very much attached to this. You can feel it very much, the strong culture. But at the same time, they always prefer to buy international brands. So it's not easy for domestic companies to find their way. Some can do. These are the companies that build their strategy on some elements of culture, but they act and they do as it would be a global brand. Some example.
So they still have to have strategy and the same strategy as companies all over the world. Right?
Yeah, it should be as good, and it should be as attractive to consumers as an international company. If you look in the coffee business, which is very linked to culture here in Vietnam, well, if you look at coffee shop chains like Highland Coffee, they try to do that, to be very Vietnamese in taste, but the concept is an international concept, very linked to the Starbucks idea. Now Starbucks will come to Vietnam. I think they opened the first shop this week, or they will in the very short term. Now we will see how the competition will be going, because at first a lot of people will be curious and they will be attracted by this international Starbucks big name. But will it be okay in terms of the taste of coffee, the way they drink coffee? It is so much in the culture here. So it's very interesting to follow.
Instead of following the local culture, the companies can totally bring their own culture into the country and to inspire people, right?
Some can do. Some can do.
But how do they know that if they will be successful or not?
I think they don't know. They think, it's very clear example with the American brands. The American brands bring their culture to any country. They don't adapt much. They say, okay, well, this is our culture, this is our concept, and people will buy it. It's not always true. Sometimes it's true, sometimes it's not true. It depends, and you never know in advance. Marketing is not a science where you can predict exactly how people will behave. It's always also kind of an art. You need to be able to understand how people will react.
But in order to join a market, you have to have some direction. At first, you have to have some anticipation at first. So how do you?
You need to have a clear. Yes, you need to anticipate, and you need to do market research. You need to do all this, right? But once you have done this job and you implement in the field, it's still a different story. People don't behave exactly like you would think in the research, or you need to be very flexible in adapting that. But you need a clear direction. What is your concept? What is the value you offer to the consumers? This should be quite clear, but then you should be able to be very flexible on the field.
I think that's very interesting, and thank you very much for spending time with us in the show today.
Thank you very much for inviting me, and wish you good success. Yes. Thank you.
And that concludes our show for today. Thank you very much for watching Sharing Vietnam. I'm Jasmine. If you have any questions or comments, please send an email to us at sharingvietnam@gmail.com. See you next time.
Cảm ơn biên tập viên Thanh Hằng và giáo sư John Pia về những chia sẻ vừa rồi. Tiếp theo chương trình, xin mời quý vị và các bạn, chúng ta cùng gặp lại biên tập viên Minh Hải để đến với câu chuyện hội nhập ngày hôm nay.
Cảm ơn biên tập viên Khánh Ly. Campuchia là một đất nước láng giềng thân thuộc và cũng là một thị trường đầy tiềm năng đang đón nhận những làn sóng đầu tư rất mạnh từ Việt Nam. Đó là câu chuyện hội nhập mà chúng tôi sẽ đề cập ngày hôm nay.